Welcome to this week's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I'm joined today by Joe Andries, the General Manager at GreatAmerica Portfolio Services. Thanks for joining me, Joe.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jesse.
Nah, it's great to have you on the program, sir. I know it's been a couple years in the making, but you're a hard guy to nail down. Looking forward to discussing your story with the equipment finance community. So I guess I'll just kind of jump right in here, sir. Do you mind just kind of introducing yourself and your career in equipment finance?
Sure, happy to. Obviously, Joe Andries. I'm the Vice President, General Manager of GreatAmerica Portfolio Services Group. I actually started my career in the equipment finance industry with a company called Lion Financial Services back in 1988, right out of college as a credit analyst. Moved into a credit manager role, eventually an operations manager role, and then took over the servicing entity for Lion Financial Services. Back then, it was called Stellar Financial. And then in early 2000, US Bank bought Lion Financial, and I continued to lead their third-party servicing group until 2010, when I joined GreatAmerica to launch their third-party servicing group. So 37 years later, still having fun in the equipment finance industry.
37. I just made 20, and I'm like, God, I feel old. I'll leave that there. I'll leave that there.
No worries.
No, that's fantastic. And for those people who don't know, Lion Financial, what was one of their main assets that they had?
It was BCL, or Manifest Group, was back in the day. So
yeah. What wasn't it Schwann's?
Oh, Schwann's was the parent company. Yeah, ice cream, pizzas. Yeah. So
are they still going around? I saw one of them a couple years ago in my subdivision. I was like, wow, it's from the past.
Yeah, they're still around. They're still making the pizzas, Red Baron Pizza, Freshetta, that kind of stuff. So
are they still doing the mobile? I mean,
no, they kind of did away with that with the internet and Amazon.
Good yellow truck that was going to come with some freeze-dried food for, I don't know, not freeze-dried, but frozen food.
Yeah. So good stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, Joe. Do you mind introducing GreatAmerica Portfolio Services?
Sure. As mentioned, it started in 2010. When I came on board, they were sporadically doing some third-party servicing for other companies, dealers of theirs. And so at the time, they had put millions into their platform. And so when I came aboard, I'm like, okay, we basically need to build this security wall here so that any third-party servicing clients' information is secure. So we built that security wall and then lifted their platform over that wall and provided basically that platform as an outsourced product to many different clients. Today we offer both backup servicing and third-party servicing as outsource options. We've grown the company to its current size, providing both the backup and third-party servicing to hundreds of clients today. We have a dedicated staff of more than 75 employees, and we pride ourselves on a high level of service, customarily with the GreatAmerica broader brand of hard work, integrity, and excellence. So that's GreatAmerica Portfolio Services Group.
Perfect. In Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm sure you're the Marshall. Are you in Marshall or are you in Cedar Rapids today?
Yeah, we have our primary offices in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and then satellite offices in Marshall, Minnesota, which is where I am today and where I'm based. But with technology nowadays, you feel like you're right next to each other. So
yeah, GreatAmerica, I don't know if I ever told you this. They were the second client I ever had in equipment finance back in 2006.
Nice.
Now, granted, there's some still holdovers there, but as I see my friends on Facebook, it's like they're retiring. But from an organizational culture perspective, I don't know if anyone touches them in this industry, Joe. So I'm sure your decision to go from US Bank to there wasn't a hard one.
Yeah, it's been a good opportunity, and like I said earlier, it's just having fun in the industry. So
yeah. Plus, it's what is there if a phone's not allowed to ring more than once? Is that
twice?
Twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Twice, and then live voice picked it up. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's when you walk around the office. So those in the industry who haven't been there, would try to make it there. But just the words on the wall and the way Tony and the team kind of do things, it's just top notch all around. That's where I was going with it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's a fun
So
environment.
let's talk third party servicing if you don't mind. As what's the ideal target for someone to do third party? Does it have to be a startup? Does it have to be somebody in runoff, or could it be an organization that has a little bit more of a tenure, Joe?
Yeah, so I guess your question just kind of repeated who should outsource.
Yeah, yeah,
The easy answer is, those companies that want to focus on their core competency of growing their business without worry about building and growing their own platform. That would include the system configuration along with all the security and backup continuity planning and testing, hiring the people. You may not need a full-time collector as you're starting out, so figure out how to staff without the potential for functional focus. A collector may have to spend half their day doing some customer service, hiring a technology staff to support your technology stack, worrying about staffing for tax, administration and compliance. And lastly, establishing and adhering to the operational procedures that lenders are going to ask for in a policy management and auditing. Outsourcing can be a solution to all these potential challenges. It can provide a turnkey pace as you need that type of servicing solution. Outsourcing can also keep you up to date on technology advancement. Outsourcing needs to keep up on the technology, or else we won't be providing a measured, valued solution for our clients. We recognize that and have taken that to heart. And today we call that internally, we've tagged it as great tomorrow. So we've got to continue to grow our technology stack. On the flip side, leasing companies who choose to outsource do give up a bit of control. It's not control of their customer base per se, but control of their introducing new products, new programs. Will the outsourcer be able to support it? So outsourcing may or may not be a good fit for everyone. As for specific examples, you brought up, the startup. Our filter when we ever look at a client opportunity is really, how can we help them grow? How can we be an extension of their company and be a good servicing partner? So obviously, startup leasing companies or startup companies, those that choose a turnkey platform option versus building their own. Our largest client today was a startup. Additionally, the next one that we see a lot of activity in is those brokers or discounters who are looking to become lessors and hold and service their own paper with lending facilities behind them. We partner with them to bring our servicing strength and strong brand to the table as their servicing partner so that they can obtain new capital sources or allow lenders to approve them as a servicing retained model. Another one that we see quite a bit of recently is, those established finance companies or banks choosing to outsource their portfolio servicing versus continually keeping up with the ever-changing technology that is needed to keep them competitive. In those scenarios, there often is a portfolio conversion, which, as many of us know, can create kind of a hysteria or can be a challenge. And we've taken that task to hand. And from that standpoint, we've built out our capabilities, and we actually have our own team. That's all they're responsible for is portfolio conversion. So we have a primary focus on getting better at portfolio conversion so it doesn't affect the customers. Sure. And then lastly, that we see quite a bit of opportunity is in today's captive arrangements, the captive finance companies who want to choose to control their customer experience while using a multi-lender single service concept. Having multiple lenders that buy their paper, but having it all serviced consistently with one servicer that they control. So those are some of the examples and some of the rationale of why outsourcing today is being considered.
Sure. And then I guess from a backup servicing perspective, is that primarily just more on the independent side? Or I guess what
Yeah,
organizations should
yeah,
consider a backup servicer.
yeah. It's really those independent finance companies or those larger institutions that with all the activity in the early 2000s, I think the lenders have a long-term memory of that and of some of those companies that needed a backup servicer to be engaged. And so, yeah, it's the bigger financial institutions, the independents who are utilizing, securitizations and warehouse lines, et cetera, that oftentimes we're called upon to be the backup servicer. That's pretty active lately too.
Sure, sure. Especially with some of these, I guess, non-traditional. I mean, you've been in the industry longer than I've been, right? Some of these non-traditional, like I guess, lenders that are coming in more on the private capital side. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and see
yeah.
where some of that stuff would come in, and I just a lot of the things that you touched on from from an outsourcing perspective. I know if I was to start a leasing company, like, do I really want to have that overhead of, you know, even though I know the back office software, what they can and can't do I really need that day one?
Right.
And that kind of goes into my next question. Do eventually people like outgrow this and then want to turn it in house?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jesse. My simple answer is, outsourcing is a viable option until it doesn't meet the client's needs or until their servicing partner isn't delivered measured value to the client. We don't ever take that for granted, and that we have a client for life. We recognize that we need to keep up with our technology trends. We need to continue to train and develop our people. And most importantly, we need to be very, very sound with our standard operating procedures. We have some clients that leave us. They were bought and took the servicing in-house. And now another example is they told us on the front side, hey, after X number of years, we're going to bring this in-house. You're going to help us get from here to here, and then we're going to
Sure.
take it in-house. Another wanted more control and elected to build their own platform. Like any business partnership, it has to be a win-win relationship. And we continue to stay in touch with our clients on a regular basis in order to get ahead of what their needs are, what projects we're working on for them, and what make them aware of advancements in our organization, which, as I mentioned before, we've tagged that as Great Tomorrow. But client retention is a primary focus within our organization. But to your point, there's some planned exits, you might say, and it happens, and we recognize that. But we also recognize we have to continue to build value. It's not a given.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, one of your biggest clients today started off with a whopping what, zero, and now
Yeah.
they've grown into your biggest one. I mean, I would say those are probably the most fulfilling when you can sit there and watch how that partnership not only helps you guys grow revenue, but see what it's done to them because they've seen the value of why leveraging you as opposed to, making the investment and doing it themselves.
Yeah, that it's really in our DNA to be a true partner, and how can we help our clients meet their expectations, their goals. How can we make them grow and meet their investor objectives. So
Yeah, I know. I'm going to switch gears to kind of some technology conversations real quick about some trends. But I know from a consultant's rep perspective, when I'm working with people, I guess the integrations that you guys have basically leveraged into all of the originations platform has been instrumental in helping. Because you know what that's like, right? It's
mm,
like if you don't have a seamless integration, they're going to be like, "What's going on here?" And then you have to pay people to sit there and manually enter things, and it's not
yeah.
a good feeling. So, kudos to you and your team for working on those integrations, Joe, partnering with those front end platforms to make that a little bit more of a seamless process.
Yeah, we definitely we call that GreatAmerica Integrate. So we've kind of got tag
Oh, okay,
names
okay,
for
okay, okay.
everything.
All right,
But
I didn't know that.
that has the integration, the APIs have been a huge push for us in the last year and near term. As you mentioned, if it's not a win-win situation, if it's not efficient and effective, it's not going to be a value add. And just keep in mind that a lot of our clients have their own front end processes. So we kind of step in on the backside. So they're originating the deal with their own technology. They're doing the credit, the documentation, they're funding the deal, and then they send it to us. So an efficient and effective handoff is very, very important in that.
Seamless, less touch too, keeps costs down, keeps errors down, keeps everything.
Absolutely.
Any other particular trends that people are asking for or that you guys are experiencing?
Yeah. The other trend that we have seen deliver value to our clients is really a data extract that we provide. On a daily basis, we can provide our clients with about 400 plus fields, the data dictionary, so they can basically take every field out of our system and it's theirs on a daily basis. It's raw data. They then can marry it up with their front end data to have a 360 view of their customers, the full data, so that they can manage it. The other clients are using this data for some AI initiatives. But from what we heard probably 4 or 5 years ago, and we acted upon it, was that data is very, very important and people need it. And so on a daily basis, it's all automated. We send them a data extract, CSV file, and then they take it within their walls and use it. So it's definitely a win-win, and it's delivering value. So it gives them control of how they can use that data and meet their needs internally, especially if they're a larger company, a large bank, they want to have the full view. So, but that's another trend that we see is definitely value add.
Yeah, and that's a big one. I mean, because when you, I guess, are trying to proactively, I guess, in a sales engagement, right? If you're trying to say, oh no, buy a system, don't go third party, because if you go third party, they have control, you don't have control. And when you look at a lot of these systems today, it's like they're preventing the clients from getting to the database. And if you have access to all fields, I didn't know that. I just learned that now. That's big. Because if you don't have the data, I mean, on the clients, there's so much information you're missing out on, literally. So that's big.
I mean, the other thing you think of is it's really not our data; it's our clients' data. So why would we? I mean, we're not going to use it, so give it to them. So
I understand 100%, but that's unfortunately one of the trends that I'm seeing, and as we're in these engagements, we have to make sure we bring that up, where it's like, okay, free the data.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've, like I said, I mean, luckily futuristically saw that about 3-4 years ago. I remember talking at one of the conferences. We'll talk about that later, but this individual is pretty well known. He's like, data. You've got to supply the data. And so, we just acted upon that and provide all the data to our clients. They can use it. Anything we have is theirs. So
now, is that just a portal they can log into, or is this a push?
It's both. We can either put it out on our site, secure site, they can come and grab it, or we could push it to their site, all encrypted, and then they grab it within their walls. So
cool. All right. I'm going to move now to kind of like the industry. So I'm just going to say 30 plus years. We don't need to use exact numbers here. Equipment finance, Joe, you've been through some cycles throughout that time. I guess, where do you see things now that we're in August of 2025? Glass half full, glass still kind of cautiously optimistic. What do you see?
I mean, I'm kind of speaking on behalf of our clients. They're all in pretty good mood, put it that way. I think they're all doing pretty well, and they're growing. Their portfolio performance has been very good, with year-over-year delinquencies and charge-offs being consistent or down. They seem relatively calm about their portfolio performance. We haven't seen or sensed any panic or pulling back so far in 2025. So using that as a barometer, I think we're in a good state. On a broader scale, what you read and hear out there is slowed growth amid higher costs, with growth in the new equipment value tampered by rising interest costs and tightening of credit. the uncertainty of the tariffs. We hear a little bit of this from our clients, but none that have made any dramatic moves or changes that we've seen. So most are realizing, I wouldn't say a true record setting 2025, but most of them have smiles on their faces. So, but the other thing I would say, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, is we've seen more and more new startup client opportunities, which tells me the equipment finance industry is still very attractive. The amount of capital is still available out there, and we've helped clients obtain that capital. I wouldn't say it's been an easy or it's cheap, but it's definitely available out there. But I would, from an overall perspective, and then I think I speak of this also being part of the cycles from the past. I think the equipment finance industry right now is in a state of opportunity. I think it's still there's some opportunistic things out there that people can take advantage of. So.
No, 100%. And I'm seeing the same thing too. I know ag is kind of ag. I don't know how to say it any better than that. Transportation seems to, I'm not even going there. Not as bad as it was, right?
Right.
But overall, like last year and the year before, when you go on site to some places, people are like, "Yeah, not really sure," kind of thing. But we're a resilient industry. But now it's just more, like you said, it's blatant optimism towards, okay, let's rock
Yeah.
and roll. And with this big,
Yeah.
beautiful bill coming along, the tax appreciation, the way that's going to be doing it,
Yeah.
I only see it as a positive.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, our clients are in good moods, which is the barometer. So.
Fantastic, fantastic. Um, and then I think our paths probably first crossed. I want to say it was probably when you were at Manifest at a NIFA event, or maybe EAEL. Got him. Dating,
Way
dating,
back in the day.
dating back, way back, old school. But I just kind of wanted to real quickly talk about those trade associations and what they've meant to not only your career, but what do they mean to Great America as well?
Yeah, I mean, if I can't remember all the acronyms from way back when, but I've been to the Monterey's, to I think New York's, to the Florida, Dallas. I've been to a lot of them, but today, in the state that we sit today, ELFA obviously is the big one that we're very much involved with, and then NIFA is probably close second behind it. From my perspective, and from Great America's perspective, they're very, very important from not only a networking perspective but a resource perspective. It's like, hey, who's part of the association that I can lean on for some type of knowledge regarding this? They're just very important contacts within the industry, or even the tools and events that they provide. They keep us updated on what's happening in the industry and awareness. We're very active in the conferences. We use that as kind of our primary networking opportunity to go see 10 of our clients, 20 of our clients all in one day. It's just kind of very, very valuable. I mean, it's hard to be able to just go to one event and see that many of our clients, and so that's very, very attractive to us. I think being a part of the associations from Great America's perspective builds credibility. I mean, I think when we're talking to prospective clients, they're like, "Oh, you're part of ELFA," and I'm like, "Yeah, or part of NIFA, etc." So it's very important to us, and I actually wish we had more time and more resources to even be more active in these associations, because I do feel they definitely deliver measured value to the industry.
Well, and I know Great America has been a good partner of both of those associations over the years. We send multiple people to events. It's just, like you said, it's hard. Like, I wish that I could send everyone on my team to, some of these fall events, but then who's going to get the work done?
Right. Right.
That's fantastic, Joe. Thank you for discussing those. And then I guess from an industry perspective, some of those relationships that you've accumulated over the last 30-ish years, like, what have they meant to your career?
Well, I can honestly say I don't think I would be sitting here today, overseeing this group and having as much fun as I did without the people in the industry, the people within our organization. So I made many friends and lifelong friends for that matter. And ironically, I just heard from a guy probably a half an hour before this call that I hadn't heard from for 5 years, 6 years, and just out of the blue. So, there's been a lot of business contacts that I made. I have, I get a lot of support from the industry. If I need something, I know who I can call, and always building that network so that when that unforeseen need arises, I can lean on someone or give someone a call and hey, what do you think of this? Hey, of anyone that does this, etc. So from my perspective, it's a valuable tool to be have the friends and the network within the industry that I can lean upon, to help in our success. So, and my success for that matter.
Perfect. Yeah, that's one of the things I love about the industry. It doesn't matter who it is, even if they're a competitor, you can reach out if you have a question. It seems like we're all battling for the same, do right by the client mentality.
Right.
Um, any advice that you would have for someone just getting in the industry?
Yeah, network. I mean, don't kind of live behind your computer screen. Get out there and meet people, take advantage of things, be inquisitive. Hey, ask questions. I think there's a lot of people that love to tell their story, just as kind of I'm doing here today. I mean, I think there's a passion out there in the industry, and for younger folks just getting in the industry, or someone just entering the industry, um, I think you'd get a warm welcome at, if you just called up people and started chatting with them. Obviously, there's certain people that are very busy at times, so be a little bit cordial there. But from the most part, especially at the association meetings or the conferences, people are there to network and take advantage of it.
Sure. It doesn't matter if you've been in the industry for 37 years or 1 year. If you need to meet somebody, just walk up and ask. I know it can be a little uncomfortable sometimes, but I've never seen in my, I guess, career, someone be like, "Oh, I want to talk to this person." They're like, "No." Like,
Yeah.
it's like, like you said, you have to be cordial with people's schedules, which can be challenging. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, it's a friendly industry. Leave it at
yeah,
that. So
absolutely. So I ask everyone who comes on the program, Joe, to give me a little fun fact about themselves. So, what do you enjoy doing outside of?
yeah, I mean, I don't know how fun I am, but anyway, fun fact about me, how's that sound? Is
Oh,
that
that's fair. That's fair.
grew up on a family farm in rural Marshall, Minnesota. And today, fun fact is I still dip my toes into the farming a little bit, kind of my heritage. And as the old saying goes, you can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy. And so I keep busy with some of that. That's
Uh,
why I say earlier, I I don't I make time for fun, but it's not like I kind of sacrifice any work environment for that. But so that's something that I keep very busy with. And then we have 4 grown children that love to spend time with as a family. Either at our lake home, sporting events, hunting events, or just helping them with projects whenever they call and need support or wisdom or money. So,
Still on the payroll. It happens.
yeah.
That's right. So from a farming perspective, animals, like produce, like
Yeah,
what type
just
of farming is?
row crop, like corn
Okay.
and beans and wheat and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've got a little bit of land, and I could say kind of dip my toe into it, and keeps me busy on the weekends sometimes and at night. But for the most part, it's not a big venture, as today corporate farms are very, very big. It's more of a hobby. And I have multi-meaning in it from a standpoint that it's some hunting ground, and so it's a hobby. So
Sure. I mean, you plant the corn, you put the corn, in the woods, and it just comes full circle. I get it. I grew
yeah,
up on 300 acres of like the majority of it was vineyards. We had like apples, peaches, nectarines, etc.
yeah.
And now I have a mini hobby farm of chickens.
Oh, there you go.
I
I
don't know
don't
which
have
one do
any.
I.
I don't have
I don't
any
know.
animals, but I've got the deer, I should say. Those are the animals. So,
That-
but all
Nothing's wrong
good,
with nothing. Nothing's wrong with that.
right?
Um, I guess my final question I have for you, sir, is why should someone want to do business with Joe Andries in Great America Portfolio Services?
Yeah, thanks for asking. First of all, thanks for having me on. But our value proposition really consists of what we call the Great America Experience, which is really us delivering our people, process, and systems at a high level to our clients and their customers. So that's just our availability and our people. Second of all, those people are experienced. They provide administrative expertise and knowledge that you don't have if you're just starting out. We talked about networking in the industry. We feel like we can bring a lot of that knowledge to the table for our clients. So providing administrative expertise and knowledge, we really look at everything as a partner type solution from a perspective of we're an extension of our client's business, but we also allow our clients to come in and be part of the Great America family, you could say. And then, just leveraging the Great America's financial strength, reputation of hard work, integrity, excellence, and the strong history of shared success. And really, from our perspective, the clients and their customers are our focus, and it's our mission to deliver value back to them, measured value back to them. So make it a win-win and make it successful, make it fun. It's something that we take passion in, is delivering value to our clients and their customers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the market resonates with that. Like I said before, you guys have a fantastic reputation. Um, Congrats on all your success there over the last, is it 15 years? 2010?
Yeah, we celebrate our 15th year anniversary this year. So
Cool.
fun stuff.
Cool. Congrats, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate your time today, Joe. Thank you for joining me. Love having you on the program. Love hearing a little bit more about your background and story, and talking about the Great America, which, by the way, do not put space in the name. I did that, but I was, like I said, second client. I kept spacing it out.
Yeah. We're all one name with an A at the end, and then we are not related to the insurance company, but I consider them really good friends. So Great American, Great America. So
No space.
that's right.
All right, sir. Well, I really appreciate your time today, Joe. Look forward to seeing you on the upcoming fall conference circuit. And yeah, thanks again for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good
Take
one.
care.
Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.